Shana Tova. We should arrive with the permission of the rabbi. How's the year going? Yeah? What's the answer to that? So far, so good. Yeah? Okay. I hope the year started well for all of you. And let me share with you a story that was just released with the Israeli media some hours before Rosh Hashanah, some hours before the year started. You may have heard them, you may have not. An archaeologist was digging in the Negev desert in Israel and came upon a casket containing a mummy, a very, very rare occurrence in Israel, to say the least. After examining it, he called Abe Goldstein, the curator of the Israeli Museum in Jerusalem. And he said, I've discovered a 3,000-year-old mummy. I've discovered a 3,000-year-old mummy of a man who died of a heart failure, the excited scientist exclaimed. Abe replied, bring the mummy in, we'll check it out. A week later, the amazed Abe Goldstein called the archaeologist. You were right about both the mummy's age and the cause of death. How in the world did you know? How is it possible you knew that the person died from a heart attack? Easy, the archaeologist answered. There was a piece of paper in his hand that said 10,000 shekels on Goliath. A new year is always a bet, a flipping coin on the air. Who shall live and who shall die? We just read and we just sang in the Netane Tokef. A new year is a question mark. A new year is the biggest testimony that we live with uncertainty. When we thought we were going to be moving back from Zoom to the room, what happened? Boom, Delta. Who knew the window of opportunity and the sense of normalcy was going to be so short? The feeling of not knowing what tomorrow will bring is in the air every Rosh Hashanah. This feeling of not knowing what's going to happen tomorrow is reflected best in the Torah reading our tradition had chosen for these days. At first, the choice of the Torah reading is very strange. Wouldn't it be more appropriate to read Bereshit and the story of creation? Aren't we recreating today the creation of Adam and Eve, the creation of humanity? Or maybe something about the shofar, or maybe the Ten Commandments, since we are all on vacation during Shavuot, and that holiday is usually skipped during the religious school. Not this year. And yet, we read Genesis 21 and 22, which tell of the banishment of Agar from the house of Abraham and the binding of Isaac, that we all know and we read yesterday and today. So what is the connection to Rosh Hashanah? Rabbi Dr. Yossi Levin provides an excellent answer to this question. And he says, on reflection, these two chapters offer a kind of testimony against those who subscribe to the notion of certainty. Over and over again, we find characters absolutely certain of a particular conviction. And over again, something happens and foils their expectations. Sarah is totally convinced, beyond the shadow of doubt, that she is condemned to live a life without children. And yet she conceives. Abraham is certain that Ishmael, his firstborn son, will become the heir of his spiritual legacy and will continue his tradition. But God has different plans. Without water in the blazing heat of the desert, Agar is absolutely certain her son will die. She's so sure of this that she steps away from Ishmael so as to avoid watching his demise. Then she opens her eyes and discovers a spring well. She and her son will live to see another day. And finally, the last part, the story of Abraham, his willingness to sacrifice his son. Abraham is so certain that he is carrying out God's will that an angel must call out to him twice to make sure he is listening. Abraham, Abraham, before he's willing to stop short of sacrificing Isaac. A new year is a time of great uncertainty, like a flipping coin. On one side is fear, but on the other side of the coin, a new year is a new promise, a new opportunity, and a huge potential. The new opportunity starts today. The potential is out there, waiting for all of us. So let me share with you an amazing story about the power of today. Around 500 years ago, the chief rabbi of Egypt, David ibn Zimra, who died in 1573, received an unusual query. A Jewish prison inmate had made a plea for clemency to his local governor and was granted 1 day furlough. The date of the furlough was left to the discretion of the prisoner. What day, the inmate wondered, should he choose? So he sent a letter to the rabbi. The chief rabbi's advice was unequivocal. Today, rather than wait, for example, to a special day like Yom Kippur or Shavuot, he suggested his correspondent seize the moment to accomplish everything he could, not to wait until tomorrow. The liturgy of the High Holidays confront us the most important day of the year. It is today, not tomorrow. Mahar is not the day we praise. Hayom arat olam, today the world was created, not tomorrow. Hayom teamtzeinu, hayom tevarcheinu, strengthen us today, bless us today, exalt us today, seek our well-being today. We will sing in a few moments when we sing Hayom. Lovingly accept our prayers today. Inscribe us for the good in the book of life today. So today is the day, and we need to start by establishing our priorities. A good way to do it is to hear the story of Abraham Infeld. He was very active in Hillel, if the name rings the bell. Infeld got advice from his father right before his father passed away. In one of their last conversations, Infeld asked his father, Abba, is there a minimum that a Jew has to know in order to be a Jew? To which his father answered, of course there's a minimum. A Jew has to know more today than he and she knew yesterday. Today is the day to start. No excuses, no delays. In each of the Torah readings, the uncertainty comes with an opportunity. Sarah had Isaac. Agar saves Ishmael's lives. Abraham does not sacrifice Yitzhak, and Yitzhak becomes the leader of the great nation. Because the uncertainty can be an opportunity as well. So here is my humble recipe for this new year. Find the opportunity. Embrace the opportunity. With the following. Number 1, show up 1 Shabbat a month for services and Kiddush. Kiddush is very good, by the way. Come with your family and meet someone you haven't met at B'nai Tzedek. Number 2, invite someone new to your Shabbat table. Number 3, add 1 more mitzvah to your list of mitzvot this year. Friday night candles, Sukkah, kosher meat, Mishloach Manot on Purim, Tzedakah, Hanukkah candles. You choose. Add 1 more mitzvah. Number 4, read 1 book with Jewish content. Start today. It is called Talmud Torah, learning Torah. So simple and so rewarding. Number 5, participate once a month, at least, at the B'nai Tzedek Daily Minyan. Can you commit 15 minutes per month? I guess so. So again, 1, show up for Shabbat. 2, invite someone new. 3, add 1 more mitzvah. 4, read a book of Jewish content. And 5, participate in the Daily Minyan. That's it. That's my recipe. Now let me ask myself a question. Rabbi, does this recipe guarantees me a better year? Here's my answer. No. We will all live with uncertainty, but at least our bet will be with David and not with Goliath. The uncertainty will not go away, but we will live through it together, in community. knowing that we are not alone. Living with uncertainty means having an opportunity, and that opportunity starts today. Shana Tova.